Washington is abuzz. The American political world is abuzz with rumours, with reports that Joe Biden is poised to quit. That come the Democratic convention, which I think unfolds towards the end of August, he will hand over the mantle to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and that he will participate in the race to the White House against Donald Trump and not Joe Biden. Let's talk to, from the Republican Overseas Organisation here in London, Jennifer Ewing. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm very, very well. What do you make of this? I mean, these rumours, obviously, you take one look at Joe Biden, you think this guy can't surely be seriously contemplating another term in the White House. I mean, he can barely stand up now. So I think partly these rumours have been fueled by people going, well, surely he's going to step aside. But it does seem to be gaining some traction, some momentum, this talk that he will hand over to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, which people of California say, well, I couldn't think of anybody much worse than Joe Biden, but Gavin Newsom, he should fit the bill. But what do you make of it? Do you think Joe might be contemplating stepping aside?
I think he'd have to be pushed aside, although maybe he could fall aside and that would take care of it. But look, it's funny. The first time I ever came on Talk TV about a year ago as a surrogate for our buddy Greg Swenson, I told your colleague Peter Cardwell that I thought there's no way Biden could make it till November 2024, and that I thought it would be the governor of my home state of California that they'd look to replace him with. However, they've got a problem in the form of Kamala Harris, and they very much chose her as a diversity candidate, and it's going to be difficult to then push her out of the way. However, since you brought up the theory, and it's something I've thought about, though I'm told, we should tell people, I'm told by people who are much more in the know in Washington, D.C. than I am, that there's no way, Biden is seeing this through. But there actually is a way. I mean, San Francisco was a very small place, politically speaking. And Kamala Harris started there. Gavin Newsom started there. Actually, Donald Trump Jr.'s now fiance, Kimberly Guilfoyle, started there. So, it's very small. And one idea is that they bring in Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer, who is the governor of Michigan. So you've got at least a woman on the ticket. Kamala goes back to California.
Yeah.
And she's given, maybe she's a senator again, maybe she's given a bigger office. I don't know. However, look, this is the role he's been basically groomed for his entire life. He had very large Getty, the big Getty oil family.
Yeah, of course.
They basically helped raise Gavin Newsom, and he the problem is you don't just look at, oh, he's been the governor since 2019 and there's been a few problems. Gavin Newsom has been ruining San Francisco Bay Area and then spread it out to California at large since 1995, when he worked with Willie Brown, who is the mayor, also known for a relationship with our current vice president, Kamala Harris. And then, he went on to the San Francisco Supervisory Board, did more damage. Then he was the mayor of San Francisco. One of his big things is, oh, I'll solve the homeless problem. Well, what he's done is create a homeless industrial complex. He spent $20 billion since 20 billion on homeless, and it's gotten worse by 1/3. So, I mean, as goes California, so goes the nation. Let's hope not. Let's hope he does not get anywhere near
because as I was saying earlier, that they call Gavin Newsom the U-Haul governor of California, because everyone's hitching a trailer on the back of their car, loading up all their possessions and heading out of California, U-Haul being a company where you can rent trailers. So people are quitting California in their droves thanks to this guy. So as I say, of all the people you could choose to replace Joe Biden. Gavin Newsom is arguably one of the few people who do a worse job than Joe Biden. We're also hearing, this is just broken, I want to get your take on this, Jennifer, that the United Nations Security Council has just passed an American-drafted ceasefire deal aimed at halting 8 months of bloody fighting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Israel has accepted this proposal, and the Security Council has an opportunity to speak with one voice and call on Hamas to do the same. That is the quote from the UN. Well, I would suggest that I don't know what the deal is or what the component parts of this deal are, but if Israel has accepted it, it must include the full release of every hostage. And unless Hamas do this, this will come to nothing, just like all of other Joe Biden's other peace initiatives. I mean, we shouldn't get our hopes up too much here, I don't think.
Well, I mean, like you say, the deal should include that in theory, right? I mean, you look back to
I
many,
think
many
it
years.
must do it, Jennifer.
Oh,
Otherwise, there's no way Israel would
okay,
accept it. Yeah.
okay. I haven't read the full
Nor
thing,
have I.
so
Nor have I.
if they have, let's see how that goes. This issue and Biden's foreign policy in general has not pleased anyone. Whether it's his far left flank or his, the more conservative side of the country, who have, treated Israel as our number one ally, I would say, for years and years and years, even probably rivaling the United Kingdom. So I'm not sure this helps him if that's what he was looking to do. I know that the 7 swing states have now probably whittled down to 3, one of which is Michigan, and he probably thinks it'll help him a bit in Michigan. Although what will hurt him to counteract any help he gets from this sort of thing is basically the United Auto Workers. So if he's thinking this helps him in Michigan with the Muslim vote, or even more than the Muslim vote,
Oh,
the actual the sorry, someone's going shouting through, but
that's okay. I wonder what it
if
was.
he, okay, if he thinks this helps him, with voters, I'm not sure it does. I think his foreign policy is such a mess. However, it would be great if we could get those hostages home. It's not something you hear very much on the news, contrary to, say, when the Iran hostages were taken, and that was something I remember even as a little kid. You heard about that every single night on the news. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's see. Like, breaking news, I haven't totally dissected it either.
No, well, let's see. I mean, Joe Biden seems to think that the Security Council and Hamas have an opportunity here, and that Hamas should release all of these hostages, which is probably a forlorn hope. But the forced release, if you like, the rescuing of those hostages last week by the IDF, the success of that has completely changed the mood music in Israel, because prior to that, the Israeli people suspected that the IDF had no way of rescuing these people, but they've done it now, so they're hoping for more. So let's see what happens with this ceasefire proposal. But I'm afraid there's been quite a few, many of them from Joe Biden, and they always come to nothing. Let's remind ourselves of Donald Trump, what he thinks about Joe Biden and his arguably decrepit state. Take it away, Donald.
So I'm the leading person for president, and I'm under a gag order by a man that can't put 2 sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. Maybe his people more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it, because I don't know if he knows about anything.
Well, that's Donald making it very clear what he thinks about Donald Trump, Joe Biden. And if you remember the last campaign, do you remember, when he actually ended up beating Trump narrowly? Biden was kept in, they called it the bunker campaign, didn't they? Lock Joe in the bunker and don't let him speak to anyone. I don't see how they can get away with that this time, particularly in terms of the fact that we've got these TV debates coming up, I think very, very soon. Donald Trump and Joe Biden are going to be heading down to Atlanta, Georgia to CNN headquarters, and they're going to have it out. They're going to go head to head on stage. And what I'm hearing is that the Democrats have tried to put lots and lots of strict conditions on it in the hope that Donald Trump would say, no, I'm not putting up with that. But Donald Trump is saying, whatever you want, I'll do it. Because he wants to get on the stage with Joe Biden, because he will annihilate the old geezer, won't he?
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people bring up age in this race and say both of the candidates are too old, but it's not really a question of age. People age differently. It's
Yes.
cognitive ability, it's cognitive ability, it's energy. I mean, my God, not only did Trump just have to sit through this, dire court case for the last 6 or 7 weeks, but then he comes straight out of the boat, goes to California, puts on these incredible fundraisers. I mean, David Sachs, who threw one for him for Silicon Valley people of all, who usually are quite far left. And he said he stood there for 4 hours, just talking and mingling with everybody, full of energy. Then he went down south to Newport Beach. Then he went to Vegas, which you probably saw, and delivered great news about, I won't put tax on tips, which, by the way, that affects 12 million Americans. So that's a lot of younger people that are going to be looking at that as a great Trump policy. But no, I think the Biden campaign, I'm amazed that whoever came up with this idea should be sacked. And I guess they're going to try to jack him up on whatever cocktail they put him on for the State of the Union. But even with that, whether you want to call it coffee or Red Bull or worse, he still didn't get a big bump. So the bar has been set so low that, I'm hearing people say, oh, the speech he gave at D-Day, it was so great. And it was like, first of all, it was a ripoff of President Reagan's, which he has no business. He should never, try to compare himself to President Reagan. And the second thing is like, if it's just a proof of life that we're after and we're giving Biden credit, like, is that really where we are? No, Trump will wipe the floor with him. Absolutely. Yes, June 27th.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, the Democrats have tried to make something of this, saying that, okay, Joe Biden is now, what is he, 80, 81 or whatever he is, and that Donald Trump's 79 and that Donald Trump has problems as well cognitively. And that's just not true. I mean, he forgot some date the other day. He said, there, look, he's just as bad as Joe Biden. That isn't true. Joe Biden can't remember his own name, can't remember when he was vice president, can't remember when his beloved son Beau died, can't remember when the evacuation of Afghanistan was. This guy has lost his marbles. Donald Trump has not. It is quite clear Donald Trump, whatever you think about it, he's all there. He's at the races. Joe Biden is not, is he?
No, he's not. And look, Kevin, for people like you and me and people in the news who really don't want to live in an echo chamber, and we're reading things that we disagree with, we're watching things, we're listening to things we disagree with, so we have a well-rounded view and then make our own decisions, we can compare the two. However, there are a lot of Americans, and dare I say a lot of Europeans and English people, who only watch a certain type of news, and they are being told over and over again, oh, Trump has just as many problems, and they're not being shown some of the cognitive issues that Biden has. However, and this kind of goes back to probably why the rumor mill is building around, could they switch him out at, between now and November, is because even places like Politico, which have always sort of run cover for President Biden, they're starting to question him. We saw one of the late night comedians who never touch Biden make, make some remarks about the fact that he tripped. And, so
Which time when he tripped?
Yeah.
I mean, he nearly, to be fair, at the D-Day celebrations, where he gave a pretty good speech, to be fair. And it was good of him to be there, at least unlike our Prime Minister, the President understood the importance of that event. But after he made the speech, he tried to sit down. And luckily somebody got a chair in front of him just in time. Otherwise, it would have been another pratfall. So when you say he fell over, the answer to that question has to be, which time are you referring to? Because he's always falling over. Do you feel, I mean, I would suggest that if he does the TV debates, then it's locked in. I mean, you can't really do the TV debates and then a month and a half later say, it's not me, it's this guy, Gavin Newsom. I mean, if you do the TV debates, you're kind of locked in, aren't you?
Well, my view is that, and again, a lot of people disagree, but my view is that the TV debates are going to be sort of the party's gauge of, can we actually get, that's why I think they moved them earlier. So, because they're very early, usually they don't start until September. So I think they want to say, this is one last shot. Do we think this guy can actually make it? And if he does not do well, the Democrats, as far as I understand, have three ways in which they can switch him out. The first one is he just steps down and then Kamala Harris becomes vice president.
Yeah.
That is the least likely because her favorability is even.
No one will vote for Kamala. No, exactly.
So that's not a good idea. So then you're left with two others. The second one is basically at the DNC convention in August. The delegates that voted for him in the primary that are sent there could switch their vote. That could happen.
Okay.
And then the most likely, I think, would be you get through the convention and then they basically have him step aside then, and then the party gets in, as Greg Swenson likes to say, a smoke-filled room and decides who will be their candidate.
Yeah. But your money is on Joe sticking with it and being the man who runs for the White House for the Democrats, yeah?
I don't see how that is possible.
Yeah.
However, everybody I talk to tells me, nope, they've come this far. They've got to stick through it. And so we'll see.
That would be my interpretation. I don't see it. They've let it go too far now, particularly with the TV debates. Jennifer, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. That's Jennifer Ewing from the Republican Overseas Organisation here in London.